I find the remote thing I forgot to pick up. More than anything, we have some missing cups. It has been keeping me away. If you are in possession of a cup that looks anything like those, could we have them back? Staff are having panic attacks because they can't find their own mugs. So could I please put a plea to you that if you know where any of these mugs are, could I have them back? So, anyone who can trade them, please any of these over. So, first and foremost, apart from the frivolities at the beginning of this presentation, a massive thank you to all of you for what you did over the last academic year. It was no mean feat what we had to deal with. And I think over the summer people were asking me, how was it the first year? And it is still not a year since I've started. I have another 7 days for have been in 1 year in post. And I can only compare it to similar to an expedition to the North Pole. You know, it's hard, it's tough, you prepared, you know what the aim is and what the goal is, but you can very easily put your foot on an iceberg and it topples in front of you and your plans need to be quickly rethought and you need to change direction. And this year, my message to you is that we are still going towards the North Pole, but we need to have a degree of calm and confidence. We cannot have the tornado that was 2016-17 to continue. We need to hunker down and continue very strongly towards achieving what's the most important thing for this college, which is having learners and staff who are happy and are fulfilled. And that is down to every single one of us to make that happen. So if there is a theme tune to this year, it's going to be for us, when the going gets tough, the tough gets going. I need everybody to pull out all the stops to make things happen. And I'm going to give you an overview with my colleagues here about the year that has been, what we know about the results, immediate things that has to happen, and also some immediate changes that has taken place over the summer that you need to be aware of, the implications of those, and also the most important event of our year, which is our enrollment, which Phil will go through in more details. But this is to say a big thank you to every single one of you for everything that you did to make last year to be the year that was. Good or bad, we got to the end of it, and I'm extremely proud that we arrived at the end of the academic year feeling positive, and the year that was the admin week, you all did your utmost to be prepared for this academic year. So I look forward to working with you throughout this academic year to make it an even more successful academic year for all of us. Okay, Phil, what do you do? Okay, now you need to come up here. You all know that Bruce Forsyth passed away. Like in him, he was the king of entertainment. And I thought we would do play the EFC cards right. Play your EFC cards right. So, trying to find a worthy entertainer and presenter of this, trying to find a photograph of someone who I can put there. This is a photo I found on the internet. And this is on the internet, we didn't pose for this. And I think it's quite apt if you look at Bruce's photo. Come on, this thing, work. Okay, if you look at Bruce's photo, go back one. And then go back one. Let me do that. If you go back one, and you see Bruce, it's the best I could get. So play your EFC cards right. If the response that is coming up, you think the answer is higher, you stand up, and you remain stood up for the next question. And if you think the next question is lower, then you sit down, right? So higher, you stand up, lower, you sit down. Is that clear? Okay.
Okay, so no prizes, no dolly dealers, but no star prize for the car. So we're going to ask you to stand up if you think it's higher. We're going to ask you to sit down if you think it's lower. This is all facts about the last academic year. Starting off with our final figure, number of full-time 16 to 18 learners. Is it higher or lower than 1,500? Higher or lower than 1,500? Stay sitting if you think it's lower. Stand up if you think it's higher. Off you go. Okay, fairly split there, fairly split there. Let's have a look at the answer. The answer is 1,439. Okay, so lower than 1,500. So lower than our target and lower than the figure we budgeted for. Okay, application numbers for September overall. That's full-time, part-time, everything that we do. Comparing this year with last year, are we higher or lower than last year? That's higher or lower application numbers than last year. Okay, lots of you are thinking about 50-50. Okay, let's see the answer. Okay, it's higher. 2,666 applications to date against 2,505 overall last year. Okay, so this is the key one. This is the key one. This is the one that keeps me awake at night. Are we going to achieve our predicted achievement? Is our predicted achievement higher or lower than 75%? Okay, that's interesting. The answer is, including functional skills, we are predicting 81.5% against that 73.5% last year. Still got to do a bit of work to achieve that, but that's what we're predicting. Okay, end of year retention. Is it higher or lower than 85%? Overall retention, higher or lower than 85%? Some of you are not moving now. You've decided everything must be lower. Okay, again about 50-50, 91.5. That's a good figure. That's a good position to be in for last year. Okay, A-level pass rate. A-level pass rate out on Thursday. Is it higher or lower than 95%? This college, higher or lower than 98.7%. So if you were involved in that, huge congratulations to you. 98.7. We're as good as our local colleges. We're as good as the local sixth forms. Unknown results. How many unknown results do we have for last year that we still don't know, we still haven't claimed, we still haven't recorded a pass or fail for? Is it higher or lower than 2,000? Higher or lower than 2,000? It's higher. We have 2,267 unknown results on the system. Getting those right will get us to achieve that predicted achievement we've talked about. A-level value added. It's all very well to say your pass rates are really good. What's the value added? Is it higher or lower than last year? The A-level value added. Higher or lower than last year? Let's have a look. Okay, it's up by one whole grade, and we now have 3 A-level subjects whose performance is in the top 25% nationally. Woo! Okay, the percentage of lessons, the percentage of observations that were graded as good or better, is it higher or lower than 60%? That's teaching and learning observations, good or better. 65%. 65%, so higher than the 65. Okay, thank you.
Fantastic, thank you so much. I hope that won't go a little bit and make giving the information and statistics a little bit more interesting. There are a lot to celebrate in just those results that we saw. But there is also some really concerning matters there, where we have unrecorded results, when we have sessions that are observed, 65% of it to be good or better. So there are still work to be done, and for us to make sure that we don't take our eye off the ball. What's the most important thing in this college? What is it? Learners, teaching, learning and assessment. And how can learners get the best that they will get? Is for you to be the best you can be and to give your best. So, moving on from that, one of the key events that I shared with you over the last few months of the academic year was the discussion about merger and this love life that is starting between EFC and Barnum and Southgate College. Phil, if you can be the match, that would be great. So, what have we done? Last we met, I told you that the plan was that the college would merge by August 2019. You remember that? We had a meeting with the FE Commissioner, and there is a direct push and desire and highly, what do they call it, highly recommended suggestion by the FE Commissioner that the college merge within one academic year. The reason that they are saying is that if you take it for over such a long period for merger, the momentum will go and things will not happen. And I think they are learning from the experience of some other merger proposals that has fallen about. So now, the Board of Governors have approved and agreed that we'll explore, and the intention is for us to merge within one academic year. So the college by next August will be merged. That's the intention. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's certainly going to happen. That means that we would have an expedited process to make sure that the merger partner that we have chosen is the right one, and if it is the right one, for us to express that desire sooner and also get to the final destination, which is having one organization with two colleges operating within that group structure sooner than August 2019. So this will be done by the beginning of the next academic year. That's the plan. What have we done? We have, over the summer, really not much happened apart from that meeting with the FE Commissioner with that direct, highly recommended suggestion, which we can't really refuse to say, no, we don't want to explore it. So that's what we will be doing. And as a result of summer holidays and people being away, not much else has happened. So the whole project planning for that merger proposal will commence when we meet with the board at the end of September. And I hope that before meeting the board, I could have a variety of conversation with ESFA, FE Commissioner's team, as well as Barnum and Southgate team to see how we can make this happen in the way that it will not impact and distract from what matters to us, the most important thing, which is quality of teaching and learning during the first term of the academic year. We need to start as we need to go on, and I don't want any distraction, and I've made that very clear. So we had a couple of high-level meetings. I met with the principal at Barnum and Southgate. Our chair and vice chair has met with their chair and vice chair informally. Nothing was discussed apart from some pleasantries of, okay, you are our partners. One of the key things, immediate actions that needs to take place, project plan needs to be looked at, support with quality improvement plan. If our partner is capable and able and have the capacity and capability to support us there, we would look at that. And really this would be the start of our courtship. And one of the things that we are exploring with them is subject areas that we know there are difficulty with recruitment. There are difficulty with recruitment, both in terms of staff and students. Can we put forces together and see if there are things that we can do together? So there are various meetings at various levels of the organization arranged for us to meet with them, to know them, but these are all pleasantries and are the start of the courtship. I will keep you updated and posted. We will have a newsletter that is called New Dawn, and that will be published with any news about the merger. And that's where we are for now. Where we are with finances. I asked May to pop up and give us an overview of where we are, how we ended the year, and what the challenges are. May.
May to pop up. Okay. Welcome back. So the end of year predictions. When we last met towards the end of last term, we said we were looking at 1.5 million deficit. We're still working to improve on that. That's still work in progress. And the reason that's work in progress is at this time of the year, there's a number of sources of income that we need to be sure we've accounted for and accounted for them properly. And of course, there are also expenses that just comes out of whatever, it just comes out. And we've had a couple of those as well. So we're still counting the bin, and it's not finalized yet. I've got a meeting at the end of this month, I think it's next week, where we will be meeting with the FE Commissioner. We would need to give an indication of where we are going. I'm hoping, and I'm very positive, that we should be able to improve it, but I don't want to give you moving fist figure. 1 minute this, the next minute that. So I'm not giving anything. We're still working to improve on that. In terms of challenges for next year, we said to you, I said last term that we were going to do the budget. We're going to make sure everybody gets a copy of the budget. Well, I'm happy to say we've done the budget. It's been approved, and it's available. I know that my colleague Alice is meeting with all budget holders and explaining the expectation that we have for next year. I know she's doing that, and if she hasn't seen you, I'm sure she's got it planned to see you about it. Challenges for next year. Earlier, when we did the quiz, we talked about number of students, 16 to 18. We did not meet our funded numbers for last year. In other words, we were funded last year for 1,700 16 to 18 students. We did not achieve it. So the figure that you saw, which was less than 1,500, shows you that we've got less than what we should have had, which means we lost money as a result of that. Okay? Almost 2 million was taken away from what we had last year to this year because we did not achieve the numbers. So our enrollment this year is all the more important. Hence the first challenge there. The second challenge is staff recruitment and retention. So again, in summer, beginning of summer, I said, we've got to try and avoid using agencies as much as we can. That is still true, even more so now. We've got to hold on to the staff that we have as best as we can, or however we can. We've got to try, because to recruit is very expensive, and generally we've got to look at how we can curtail and manage our costs, our expenditure better. Okay, those. Without going into much, that summarizes the real challenges we have next year. Whilst we're looking at income and growing income, we've got forest days. We've got to come up with ideas. Arnie will be happy to sit down and talk to anybody about how we can generate funds and get using the forest days unit, the business development units that we've just started. So please embrace that. In building the budget, just to talk about the process, we totally reviewed and revamped the curriculum planning process. So the costs and resources, we looked at the cost on the kind of cost by cost basis. We involved most subject or cost leaders, learning leaders, learning directors were involved with Phil in the detailed review. And that what I threw up was actually when we compared to what had happened in terms of planning in previous years, where we had gaps. This time, we were able to ensure that the right resource was applied to each of the courses. So when someone comes and says, I don't have this in this course, actually everybody, it's an open process, can go back and say, did we plan for it or did we miss it? And that has been very helpful. So I'm pleased to say, and I'm grateful for the engagement and that we had with that process. That's part of the confidence building. That means we know that we've not missed anything that we should have done. Okay? And where we are, as planning, is planning. Inevitably, there will be one or two things that you'll have forgotten. But nevertheless, at least we've thought about it, we've planned it as well as we can. So I just want to say thank you to all those that are engaged in that process. It's been very helpful, and it's helped us. Yes, projection for next year. Didn't want to go into a lot of slides or into show you things, but I can tell you that I said about not meeting our learning numbers, about 2 million shortfall, and we've had to review our expenses to live within the money we have. Even with all that effort, we still ended up with a deficit budget. In other words, more costs than we have income. Governors have approved it. That's the more reason why we've got to go back to what I said earlier. Try during the course of this year to see if we can generate more income. Also, try and curtail our expenses as best as we can. A deficit budget is what's been planned for next year, and that is 955,000. That's really in terms of headlines. Thank you.
Thank you so much. There is no surprise there that with 995,000, £1 million deficit, we have to be absolutely vigilant about all expenditure. And our planning for the curriculum has had to take that into account, because we were not going to be able to continue as we were, showing a recovery plan that would take longer than 2 years for us to recover ourselves from our deficit. And as such, there has been some tough decisions needed to be made about the staffing structure, about the structure of the curriculum, and what I would like to share with you, Phil, if you can go to the next one, what are those immediate changes? Staff and student-related changes has these implications. We are deciding, and this decision is made, staff are informed, students are informed, that we will no longer continue with majority of our IT provision and also all our motor vehicle provision. This would mean that we will not be recruiting for them this academic year, and those who we have had on program that are coming back will be allocated other organizations to go to be able to continue with their education. We will also follow the HR processes appropriate for this to ensure staff that are affected are supported to find alternative employment within the organization, and also as a result of our partnership with Barnet and Southgate, we're in discussion with them to see if they are able to support us with accommodating both our staff and students who would be affected as a result of this. That does not necessarily mean we're closing those areas for good. That would mean that at this moment in time, with the review that we have done, with the assessment of the information that we have, it is not viable for us to run those at this academic year. And knowing there is a merger proposal that will take place and shape up during this academic year, we will review the provision of IT and motor vehicle, which we know our partner is quite good at, and they have a very large provision in both of these areas. How would that pan out? But for this academic year, if anybody walks through the door and say, I want to enroll in a motor vehicle course, Epping Forest College for 2017-18 is not recruiting for motor vehicle. All students who are returning students will be provided with an alternative. They have all been contacted already, and they know what is happening. With IT, there is a bit of a difference. Not all IT provision will be closed. We will be continuing with some gaming and coding, which is the name of the game in IT, and those will continue to be delivered at the college. And the information about that, if you are part of the enrollment team, you are giving information, advice and guidance, be sure that you are not in a situation where students come in and say, I want to enroll in IT, and you say, yes, we are delivering it. You're taking the students to someone, and then you realize that it's not. We don't want any of those embarrassments. So be sure that you're very clear what provision is being delivered through IT provision here and what is not. So Phil will give you those information later on. We also had a retirement in Learning Lounge, and we have decided to review the setup of the Learning Lounge and the work that the Learning Lounge does. And as such, we are creating a new position that would manage the learning resources in the college, that would have the library support as well as the digital and online and e-learning. So one manager overall to look at that. And then the restructure would mean that there would be staff affected in that area. Again, all staff affected has been consulted, have been spoken to, and plans for their continuation in the college or finding alternative provision, suitable positions either in or outside the college is in place. We also have reviewed the estates and facilities management. You know that recently we have contracted some of our provision that was managed under the head of estates and facilities differently, and as such, there are changes in the estates and facilities. Again, staff in those areas are informed, and decisions about those are communicated, and we know that what is going to happen in terms of either them staying in the organization or finding alternative employment. I know this is not an easy message to give. It's tough. We have to cut our cloth according to our means, and this is going to be extremely difficult year for us, and the whole ethos and provision at Epping Forest College is reliant on our enrollment. The reason we are in this situation is that we have not met our enrollment numbers for 3 consecutive years. Year on year on year, we have had reductions. And if roughly you put around £5,000 per student, if you are not meeting 200 students numbers, and this is lagged funding that will affect not this year's result, will affect this year's finances, it's last year's result. This is a legacy that is going to continue. So we need to be absolutely spot on with our enrollment and making sure that we would transform those applications that are higher. You saw the number of applications that we have. That doesn't mean those applications are going to become enrollments. We need to make sure those applications will become enrollments, and we will not anybody leaving this organization without having an option and an offer for them. So if you have students who are coming to you, but what you are offering them is not right, don't let them walk off this building. Make sure that they will go back through the enrollment process, through Kerry's area one-stop, and alternative provision is provided for them. The ultimate question would be, is this it? Are there going to be more cuts? I don't know. If the enrollments show that there are areas that are not recruiting, I'm not going to sit here and say we will run provision that is going to be not viable. But from what we have done, and in terms of the work that has been done in courses and resources, the courses that we have planned should allow us to recruit to our numbers and exceed them. But like I have done always, there will be open and transparent communication with you. I will share with you the problems there are, and I will rely on your wisdom and support and knowledge to find solutions to the problems that we face collectively. So those are the key immediate actions that needs to take place. Discussion with Barnet and Southwood College, as well as other colleges, to see what we can do with staff and students who are affected, and how we can support them to continue with their employment and also education. Also, handover for the support areas, learning lounge and estates, as you know, they are key areas in terms of support. We need to make sure appropriate handover is taking place. And also, making sure that we would maximize the best use of our resources and facilities that we have. And again, May alluded to this with Forest Base. If there are ideas and suggestions that you have, please bring them to the fore. We cannot afford, we have 1 year. And in this 1 year, we need to establish ourselves as much as we can to be entering the merger partnership as an equal partner rather than for it to be an acquisition. We don't want to be taken over. We want to join in a partnership. And in partnership, we have 2 wooden legs, if you like. That doesn't work, but you know what I mean. One is our quality, and the other is our finances. And the focus needs to be not compromising quality without becoming not viable as an organization. Thank you. Okay, what improvement has been done over the summer? Plenty of work has been going on. New catering manager is on site. His name is Chris, and will be working with us to make sure that the variety of facilities that we have for catering are better managed and offering better services. We have got now, at long last, a 14 to 16 room. I think Scott had kittens over this room over the last 6 months, but it's there and it's done. Obviously, the IT and motor vehicle facilities and space that is now not going to be as used is going to be revisited, and how we're going to use that. Forest Biz now has a space in behind the MIS, next to the MIS room, behind the wine stop, in room 121. Please pop in and have a look around. Gym entrance is being diverted. We had some safeguarding issues about that, where members of the public would come in and come to the college through the turnstiles. We have now changed that so they go directly to the gym and they won't have access to the main building. Smoking area has changed. I hope I could change the smoking area to be non-smoking sites at some point. Those of you who smoke will hate me forever, I know. But it's not sightly as we walk in for us to have students loitering about. So please direct them to where the smoking area is if you see them smoking around the place. And one of the imminent things that we need to do, which is happening, is that with the changes in the road that has taken place, now the college is extremely vulnerable, where a car can practically drive from the road all the way to the entrance of the college. And it can be mistaken by that being the entrance to the car park. Although there is still a ledge, but that won't stop, definitely won't stop me driving over it. So the whole idea is that we are going to be putting some barriers, and of course with all these terrorist atrocities that you have seen, use of the car as a vehicle to create damage and all the rest of it, we will be putting some barriers in the form of planters, large planters, and Diane and Scott has been working with colleagues who have been making the mess in the road to see if they can support us with providing us with these, what we call them, the barrels, and fill them with soil, and Diane is looking to see if she can get some free plants as well. So if you have any desire to be a garden designer and so on, see Diane and we'll see what that does. Air conditioning was a big issue over the last, forever, I think. We have serviced all the air conditioning units. If you are hot and bothered, get in touch with facilities. There are a mix of fans and air conditioning units that you will be able to use. It's never enough. We need to look at our air conditioning and air handling unit radically. It costs a lot, but we have commissioned a survey and that is taking place. There are a couple of rooms that are getting additional units, and that we would know in terms of the survey what else needs to be happening. One of the key changes that is happening and is imminent is that the 2 rooms on the green floor at the very end, don't know what the numbers are, will become a hub for teaching and learning and a space for our colleagues to be able to go and prepare for the lessons. Our teaching and learning coaches will be based there, and this is an area that if you want to be away from your desk and you want to go away and create and do your work, you will have a space. So that would be imminently made available, and we will talk to you about that in due course. Good. Okay, what are the immediate actions required? I asked Phil to come up and talk to you about key things that needs to be done. I'll be the mouse.
Okay, so no surprises here, and it's very easy at this point of the year to really focus on enrolment and our new students. Of course we have to do that, absolutely we have to do that, but we have to ensure everything is in order for the last academic year, so we've got the very best set of data we can have going forward into Ofsted for next year. So some key things that we need to ensure. First one is around achievement. Are all of your students completed and claimed? We know the answer to that is no, because we've got 2,200 qualifications on the system that we don't yet have a result for. Now, just over 800 of those are English and Maths, GCSEs. We get those results tomorrow. That leaves well over 1,000 functional skill and main programme, hopefully, successes that are not yet on the system. And there'll be a whole range of reasons as to why that is the system. They may be on the exam board system, but not yet on the college system. They may be on the college system, but not yet on ProAchieve. But we need to ensure we are presenting every single bit of achievement data that we can. And learning leaders will be discussing with you the achievement that's showing on the system, and where we have got issues, we need to follow that up very quickly, because we have a very early deadline for our self-assessment. So we need, by the end of this week, to really have a clear idea on where the college is in terms of that 81.5% target that we absolutely need to meet. Some of you will want to do that today. Some of you will log on to REMS today. Some of you will realise that some of those key reports in REMS won't work today. The reason for that is we have to import our GCSE results onto the system, and we have to embargo them until midnight tonight. That means we have to disable some of those REMS reports that you would normally use. So please don't send a multitude of emails to MIS saying, it's not working, it's not working. It's because we have to work in that way. Those reports will be working as normal from midnight tonight once we can actually share that information. So some of those REMS reports won't work, but if you need to go and talk to exams, you need to go and talk to MIS or your manager about that, please do. Destinations, really, really important measure. Have we captured the intended destinations of every single learner that we had with us last year, and have we recorded that on eTracker? The answer to that is, we've pretty much done it. I looked at this data yesterday. We're in the best position I've ever known for capturing intended destinations, but we haven't got them all. So I'm asking you to go back and check that you have recorded the intended destination, where they were intending to go when they left the college on the eTracker system. The same with work experience. We've made huge progress with work experience. We are down to the odd 20, 30, 40 hours in each area, which we haven't yet verified. Please go on, please check, please verify, so we can maximise that figure of work experience for last year. As we get that data, we need you to revisit your self-assessment with the actual data. The course reviews, so if you're an A-level course leader, you've got everything you need now to complete your course review. We have that on many of the VOC courses, and that will start to take shape this week. We need that done quickly because Sarah has the unenviable task of completing the whole college SAR by the first week in September. So absolutely vital that we get this data in, get the reviews to Sarah so we can complete that process as effectively as possible. Okay? And then finally, your appraisal. Have you completed your appraisal? We have a worrying number of outstanding appraisals, and we need everyone to go into next year being really, really clear on what their targets are. So line managers over the next couple of days will be ensuring that your appraisal, if it's taken place, the paperwork is completed, signed and passed to HR for logging, or if it's not yet taken place, they will be scheduled. So we go into next year with everyone having completed that process, knowing exactly what their targets are. So they're the key things that we need to ensure that are in place for every single course. And we need to start doing that today. Over 2,200 qualifications that we have no results for. About 800 of those will be the GCSE results. A large proportion of those are functional skills. We have to ensure that we turn as many of those unknown results to passes over the next couple of weeks. And to do that, Rowan and Victoria have put together a very, very clear plan to ensure that we are able to pick up every single learner that comes to us for enrolment that has not passed their functional skills, and we have a plan for how we're going to capture them and support them to pass. And I'm going to ask Rowan just to talk us through what that process is going to be.
Okay, just the one slide. It's got lots of words on it. The idea is on Thursday and then carrying on Friday into next week during our enrolment period, the students who are returning students who have not yet passed their functional skill will be seen personally by myself or Sarah from exams. So we'll be seeing them on an individual basis. We'll be looking at their results from last year to see what they're missing. It may be one element, on English it may be level 1 maths. We'll look at them individually and we'll see how far they've missed by. And if appropriate, we will ask them to select a day within the 4th and 8th of September to resit that test. So that's obviously supporting the maximum achievement that Phil's talking about, the 81.5%. Students who did not attend their classes in 16-17 or were entered but failed to sit exams will not be allowed to re-enrol. It doesn't mean they can't enrol at all, but what it will mean is they will need to attend one of those exams, the 4th to the 8th, and at that point, if they turn up, we can then sign their enrolment form. Yes, they're allowed to come back and study performing arts, or yes, they're allowed to come back and do childcare. I'm sure those of you that taught functional skills will be aware that there are students in that camp. So on enrolment day, one of your students is returning. You may want them to come back onto your course, which is great. However, we will mark their postcard, because they will have a postcard that they'll bring to the curriculum area, and we will say on that, do not enrol. So the student will know, yes, there is a course here for them to come onto, however, it is subject to them turning up and having a go at doing their functional skills test. So the way that we're going to plan the resits, and apologies to the English and Maths team because you're not privy to this yet, but you will be when I talk to you later on today. We'll have a 5-day window, which will be from the Monday the 4th to Friday the 8th of September. There'll be 2 resit opportunities each day. There'll be a 12 o'clock and there'll be a 2 o'clock. The students will be asked to arrive at 9:30 if they're going to do the 12 o'clock test. That will allow us time to then do the entry with exams, because it's about a 2-hour window from when exams do the entry, from when the test becomes available. During that time, they'll then have some practice papers they can do. There'll be a member of the English and Maths team that will be supporting them to get them prepared for that 12 o'clock test. For those that want to do the afternoon test, they need to come in at 11:30 and likewise. So when the student comes in to enrol, there'll be a timetable and they will select the day that they want to come in and the time that they want to come in. We will not do their exam entry at that point, because if they don't turn up, that's going to cost us money, which is why we're asking them to come in 2.5 hours before, do some revision, do some practice, get themselves prepared, ready to go in and sit the test. So there will be a rota, and all the tests will be in 420. We'll have the room next door, 419, which will be where the sort of revision sessions will be going on. Okay, there'll be one member of the English team, one member of the Maths team available for those sessions. Okay, we're looking at about 75 students who we know who are returning, who haven't passed yet. But there's also a large number of students who aren't returning. So again, what Sarah and I are doing, we're looking at all those students, seeing who were those ones who nearly passed, within a few marks of achieving, and we're going to contact them and invite them in for that week as well, and give them the opportunity to get their qualification. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Rowan. And remember, all of that will happen before the students get to the curriculum areas. So that decision, that process, that exam entry and organisation will have happened. So you will be absolutely clear what's happening for each of your learners. Okay, just a quick overview of what's new for this academic year. Because, as we know, if we continue to do things as we always have done, we will get the same results as we always have done. So we're doing quite a lot of new things. And some of these are quite radical, and some of these are quite scary, but we're doing them. We're introducing the block timetabling, as you know. The 3-hour sessions for vocational teaching. Giving us that time to really explore subjects in detail, and that time to really develop the practical skills that our students need, and time for the curriculum to breathe. That enables us to do the unitised approach, so short, fat vocational units. So by Christmas, most learners on vocational programmes will have 3 units in the bag, done, assessed, they know where they are. With that, of course, comes for lecturers fewer sessions to plan for, but that planning has to be so much better, and it also gives lecturers more meaningful desk duty time in usable chunks of time. We're using eTracker next year to record the EEP hours. That's the educational visits, the enrichment activities that are all vital to ensuring our students make study programme requirements. We're going to be using eTracker to capture those in the same way as we do work experience. All curriculum teams every day will have the opportunity to meet for half an hour. The focus of that meeting, led by learning leaders, will be students, 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 teaching and learning. That will be the focus. Because if a learner misses a 3-hour English class, they've missed all of their English for that week. We cannot allow that to continue into the next week without identifying it and agreeing what the action is going to be. So that's why that daily meeting is going to be absolutely key. There have been some changes to the diagnostic process for English and Maths that Rowan's going to be discussing with the English and Maths team that will go out to curriculum staff a bit later this week. We've moved the English and Maths teaching rooms, and English and Maths is now being taught in the best and the most central classrooms of the college, for obvious reasons. We've made some changes to the induction process. We're introducing an induction progress review. So at the end of the induction process, after the first 2.5 weeks, we will do a formal progress review of that learner to enable us to inform our right move process. So we have clear evidence based on soft skills, based on attendance, based on progress over that period, that enables us to really make informed decisions about whether that learner is on the right course, and if they're not, what course would be appropriate for them. So that's a big change. We're also introducing our activator sessions into our induction, getting students to work together, develop teamwork skills, and to have a high impact dynamic activity as part of enrolment information, part of induction, information about that coming out this week. We've updated the minimum expectations in all lessons, and learning leaders will be taking teams through these. We've updated the guidance that we give to course leaders. We have also decided that we're going to not use the MIS report for group profiles, but we're going to use report SO50 on eTracker as our group profile. So lots of changes. Not expecting you to take these all on board today, because these will be filtered through in team meetings, but I wanted to give you an overview and a reminder of some of the things that we are doing differently for this academic year. Just really to give people an overview of the enrolment process. A lot of new staff in the college, a lot of staff that will be aware of the process that we introduced this year. You have all been emailed by Kerry a copy of the enrolment pack, and you've all been emailed the rota in terms of what your role will be over the enrolment period. If you've not had a chance to have a look at that yet, please do make sure you log on to your emails and make sure you're aware of that situation. The absolute focus of the enrolment process is getting the right student on the right course and ensuring we give that student and their parents the very, very best experience from the moment they drive into that car park to the moment they leave with their timetable, their ID card, knowing that they've made the right decision to enrol at Epping Forest College. So the customer service element of this process is absolutely key. After this whole staff briefing, Kerry and I will be talking to the enrolment makers just to ensure they're absolutely clear on what their unique role is in this process, and curriculum teams will be taken through the process by their learning leaders at meeting this afternoon.
Could I just say there that although I've circulated the rota, people are approaching with changes all the time. If there's anybody who is available and not currently on the rota, please would you volunteer, particularly for this Thursday and Friday, because we anticipate they will be very, very busy times. And if you're on the rota for maybe 4 hours this Thursday or Friday, and we're very busy, if you'd be so kind as to work with us longer than that, I would really appreciate it, because some members of staff are on leave and I wasn't aware, and others don't work full days and I wasn't aware. So we still really do need volunteers, because we're using everyone we can on that one.
We are expecting everyone to be involved in the enrolment process. There is nothing more important over the next 2 days other than enrolment. If you look at that rota, I'm on it, Sue is on it, May's on it, the whole college is involved in this process. Okay, so let's talk through the process for the learner. Students come in through the outside doors to the canteen, not through the main entrance to the college. As soon as they park in the car park, there will be clear signage directing them around the building. There will be 2 enrolment makers outside the building, welcoming to the college, welcoming to enrolment, and directing them into the side door of the canteen. Okay. In there, they are welcomed. We're not having a welcome desk. We're having enrolment makers welcoming our potential students into the college. At that point, 2 key things will happen. Firstly, they will be given the enrolment card. And the enrolment card is the student's guide through the process. It's their flowchart. It's the things that they have to do as they go through that process. It's for them, but it's also for us. Because any of us that are involved or become involved with the student enrolment can instantly see what's been done and what hasn't been done. Once they're welcomed, our team of student ambassadors will photocopy their GCSE results. We'll be providing laptops to enable students to log on and access their GCSE results if they haven't got the printed copies with them. They will be stored. There'll be 2 copies of those results. One will go with the student through the application process. One will be held by that team. Those ones will be collected by the MIS team and inputted on a regular basis to ensure that the qualifications on entry are on the MIS system immediately, so we have that information and things like the ITG, etc. will be set. The students then, with their photocopied exams, will meet the English and Maths team. And the English and Maths team will also be in the canteen. That team will be checking the English and Maths results, and they will be, based on the information they've got, making that judgment in terms of what English and or Maths qualification is the right one for that learner. Sarah and her team and Rowan will be in the area at all times, supporting that process and giving access to the college database where students have sat qualifications in college. So we're doing our absolute level best to identify the correct English and Maths qualification for that learner. And that's entered on the top of the card. Rowan, do you want to say anything else about that process before we move on?
Well, no, I mean, the main thing is, and everybody's actually been given one of these today, just the flow chart and the decision making and what it's based on. So that's a slight change from last year. I don't want to go into it in detail. Obviously, the English and Maths staff will have that, but everybody in the curriculum's now got that as well, so they can see.
And the reason for putting English and Maths right at the front of the process is that last year it was at the end of the process and some students didn't get their English and Maths put on. And to change the emphasis now for a study programme, English and Maths go on first and then they go to the curriculum area.
And it's raising the profile.
Yeah, it's very important. So when we talk to the ambassadors later, at each point we'll be checking, have you already got that grade? If at any point they've got beyond that, accidentally, they will be sent back to English and Maths.
So, students come in, being welcomed. They've been given an I'm enrolling EFC sticker that they will proudly wear through the process. They'll be given their card. Their GCSE results will be photocopied by our student ambassadors, and they will go and see the English and Maths team, who will make the decision about the English and Maths qualification and write it on the top of the card. Once that's done, our students are directed to the curriculum areas. So they'll be directed out of what we view as the way into the canteen, into the reception area, and again, enrolment makers there will direct them up the stairs. There will be no access from the reception area into the street other than for staff. Enrolment makers will guide students up the stairs. All of the curriculum areas then are actually on level 2, and on the back of the card there is the map of where all those functions are and where the curriculum areas are. Curriculum teams will be briefed this afternoon by learning leaders in terms of exactly where that enrolment process will take place. If learners arrive to that welcome area with haven't made an application, or they haven't met their offer, or they want to change their mind, so any sort of queries, they will be directed by the enrolment makers into Kerry's team in one stop, where they will deal with all students in
and
that
there's another real
situation.
crucial point there as well. Last year we tried to learn from mistakes that we made last year. There were a lot of manual entries with the enrolment forms, so curriculum areas, thinking they were being helpful, filled in the form for people who hadn't previously applied. What that means is people were not asked if they had a criminal record, for example. We didn't have full details or we haven't requested references. So this year, those enrolment forms are pre-printed and will not be written manually, except for where they come directly from one stop. So if they have got due results and we know there's no criminal record and they want to make an application then or there, we would not stand in the way of that. and then you'll get, but it will be clear that you can write that one. But as a principle, no written enrolment form is printed.
Go to the next slide, please. Okay, lovely, thank you. So, curriculum departments are all on level 2. We've changed, based on last year's experience, the rooming allocations. Those of you that last year were in the boardrooms, melting, we're not doing anything in the boardroom this year, so we've allocated those areas and spread them out. So the curriculum area will check the offer, and will either enrol that student directly if they've met the offer, or will offer in department, in curriculum area, advice and guidance. Because we all know some students have applied for level 3, haven't got level 3, change that offer to level 2. I'm not going to go back to Kerry's team for that. That's in department sensible changes. We're asking curriculum areas to confirm the material fee to be paid. So when you're having that conversation with the learner, if there is a material fee to be paid, you're identifying them early on, so it's not a shock when they go down to enrolment. Oh, by the way, did you know you have to pay? You're giving that information at that point. And what's absolutely vital is that you check and you sign the enrolment form. All the enrolment forms will be pre-printed, and they will be in the area that you're enrolling. Okay? But you need to check it through. You need to check it through with the student. Have we captured their mobile phone number? Have we captured their date of birth correctly? Have we captured the parents' details? Have we captured the email details? This is the easiest time to capture that information. So please, when you go through with the student, do check and double check to ensure that every single section is filled in. On the back of the form, the course they've applied for will be pre-filled with the course code. The English and Maths will then have to be added based on the information that's on the postcard. And in your curriculum teams, you will have all of the English and Maths enrolment codes relevant to your area. We need to ensure we're enrolling them to the right code, the right level, so it creates the right timetable. But again, learners will go through that with their teams this afternoon. Really important, student signs and dates, and a member of the curriculum team signs and dates. The biggest single reason last year for students going down to enrol being sent back was simply the signature. So enrolment makers will all be briefed to check at every point the form has been signed, but as a matter of course, before they leave you in the curriculum area, double check the form, check the qualifications are correct, and check it's been signed both by you and the student. At that point, they will also be given the college contract. Some slight variations to the college contract based on last year. It's still a self-replicating document. It's divided now into subheadings to make it easier to read, and we have reworded some sections that, again, learning needs will go through this afternoon. We're not expecting you to read through every single line, but we're expecting you just to give an overview of the expectations of the contract. And again, if the parent is there, this is the ideal opportunity to get the parent to sign as well as the student. It saves us having to chase those parent signatures after the event. I know not every parent comes to enrolment, but last year it was about 60% of students were accompanied by parents. That only leaves us then 40% to chase up. So the contract is signed, and again, the student gets a copy, the parent gets a copy, and the copy is retained for the file. Again, these will be in the rooms you are enrolling in. If there are any exceptional entries where, for a particular reason, a student has not quite met the offer, but for other reasons we think actually we need to make an exceptional entry, that will need to be signed off by the director of that area. Once that's completed, the students leave the curriculum area and will be guided both by signage and by enrolment makers. Enrolment makers will be easily identified because they will be wearing these lovely pink t-shirts, making it very clear they are enrolment makers. They are people that can help and support our students and parents through the process. They will then make their way one way down the stairs, down into the street. They'll walk along the street where they'll be met by the MIS team. Slight change at that point because our 16 to 18 learners, our straightforward 16 to 18 study programme learners, are not going to have any fees issues. Therefore, they will go straight through to enrol. We will have a separate desk for our 19 plus learners where they will be fee assessed by the MIS team before they go through that enrolment process. The MIS team will input that information on the system. They will print the learning agreements that will be signed at that point. They will print the timetable. So learning leaders, are you absolutely sure that the timetables on your system are correct? Are you absolutely sure that your English and maths codes fit around vocational timetables? Today is the time to do that absolute final check. We have a target of 100% of enrolling students leaving with an accurate timetable. We need to hit that target because students want to know what they're going to be doing. Absolutely vital that part works. They will print the ID card and then they will walk a little bit further along the street where we will have our exit desk. There will be an exit survey, very quick exit survey that will ask them to complete. And we will, at that point, just check, is everything okay? Have you got all the information you need? Can I just check you've got your ID card, your timetable? Can I just check you know when you're coming back? So we know that every single student completes that process and is happy and positive they've made the right decision and they've got all the information that they need. You'll see if we have the need to support students with bursary, financial support, that's moved for this year. No longer in 121, it's now in room 137, 138, so again just off the street. The difference is, if students need to go and be supported financially, they will no longer have to rejoin the main enrolment process. There will be an enrolment station, ID card printer in that room, so they will finish the enrolment once they've completed and sorted their financial support and will then go straight to the exit. You remember last year we had lots of disgruntled students who had waited for some time for financial support and then were told, no, you've got to rejoin that queue again. They will not do that. They will be completing the enrolment in room 137 and 138. So the key point is the learner leaves with the welcome letter from the department. Welcome to Art and Design. I'm your learning leader. This is my contact details. This is when we're expecting you into college. All of that really important information that makes students feel comfortable about joining this really scary organisation. Having been in school, the same school, with the same staff for the last 6, 7, 8 years, coming here is scary. And I think sometimes we underestimate that. And I think sometimes we assume that they are much more independent, much more confident than perhaps they are. We need to minimise students that enrol and then don't come back. There's a lot of those last year. I know it's common across the sector. We need to try and make sure we give them the very, very best experience. So they leave with the welcome letter, that includes the induction details, they leave with the contract, they leave with the learning agreement, they leave with the timetable, and they leave with that ID card. So they are completely involved with all the information they need about how they are going to start their time at college. And lots of opportunities along the way to ask questions of our enrolment makers, of our staff, and our exit team. Going alongside that, we're going to have a bit of fun, we're going to have a treasure hunt that students are going to do, we're going to have a card that's similar size to that, and we're going to have questions about the college, key facts. That's going to go into a drawer at the exit desk. We're going to give them a lolly, or indeed perhaps some fruit, so we said we have to do fruit at the exit desk to again make them feel even more positive about the process. So that's the process in a nutshell. If you're an enrolment maker, we'll be going through with you after this session. If you're a curriculum team member, you'll be meeting with your learning leader later this afternoon. And I know if you're involved in the MIS process, the training took place yesterday for that. Have I missed anything, Kerry?
No, I don't believe so. Just again, a plea, if you're not involved in the curriculum and you're not on the enrolment maker rota, please stay behind for the training. We need as many hands as we can get.
Thank you so much. And I would like to add to that we also have the support of Jake, who will be doing the social media work throughout the enrollment process. Definitely on the first 2 days where he is physically visiting and will be able to do live broadcasting of what the experience is. And our treasure hunt is about facts about Epping Forest College. Why Epping Forest College? And that is really important for us to, whilst people are waiting, hopefully there will be no long waiting times and all the rest of it, but for them to get a Waitrose experience, as I call it. So if they are having a question, you don't say go to OI, whatever, you take them with you. You would ask them, is there anything else that I can help you with? And I'm grateful for those of you who have taken part in the customer service training that's taken place over the last few weeks. It's no rocket science. Think about the experiences that you have had yourselves and what made it special, what made it remain in your minds. And that is what we want people to take. Even if they go and enroll elsewhere, we want them to take the experience that they had from us, lingering with them for many months and years to come. To go there and say, okay, I decided to go to a different college, but my experience enrolling at Epping Forest College was outstanding. This is about our journey to be outstanding. And you know, if you go to the next slide, I started by saying when the going gets tough. When the going gets tough, we have to work even harder. Any of you who are in any competitive sport or anything competitive in your life, you want something badly, when it gets really difficult, you put more effort in. And this is the year that is our championship year. This is the year that those of you who watched those championship sporting events over the summer, you would remember this is the year that Epping Forest College did everything that it could. For me, we have a plan. We are not afraid of where we are supposed to go. We certainly believe in ourselves. Could you please stand up if you believe in Epping Forest College having the ability and capability to be outstanding by 2020, which is our aim. If you believe in that, please stand up. I'm not looking at the but you might genuinely have some concerns. I would like to hear from you because like any athlete who is in championship, we want that feedback. Why do you think that we are not going to be outstanding? And give us that valuable feedback. Today has been all about the big stuff, but it's not about all the big stuff. It's about the small things that makes the biggest difference. As I leave you today, I want you to remember three small things that has made the biggest impact on you working at Epping Forest College over the last year whilst I have been at the college and I worked with you. I have grown as an individual, you have supported me to be a better person. I thank you for that, and I hope that together we work and we make this college to be a better place. Thank you so much for your time, and stay if you're an enrollment maker, and if not, here is the fantastic enrollment